Welcome to another episode of Everybody's Got Something. I'm your host, Seth Hoffman. Today we have singer, carpenter, musician, Doug Parker, better known as Whispering Doug, and singer, songwriter, musician, Kevin Kookie Jones. It's a joy to be here. Let's have a good time. Doug, or as I call you, Dougie. So good to be with you. So good to get a chance to sit down and hear your story and get to know your music.
Thank you, Sethy.
Yeah. So just first off, tell us who you are. Tell us a little bit about what you do in life.
Well, I'm a native. I've been in Albuquerque all my adult life. As soon as I could move to New Mexico, I did. Mm-hmm. I love it here. It's my home. I've raised my family here. I've raised my step family here. And I currently live here and in Jemez with my beautiful wife, Jackie.
Wonderful, wonderful. And has music been a part of your life from the beginning? Is it something as a child you were playing, or it came later, or what's a little bit about your musical story?
Yeah, I've always loved music. It's always seemed like it was everything. Whatever's in the air at the time just determines your state of mind. It determines the social situations. It just is everything.
Yes.
And
when you were a kid, I'm always interested when I'm whether I've known people their whole life to hear a little bit about your early life, whether music was a part of it, or what was that part of your life? Do you remember, being influenced by music at that time, or what were your interests when you were little Dougie?
Well, I grew up with classical music in the home all the time, and even a few operas that would bring my parents to tears.
Okay, so they were into classical music and
yes, very much so. There was always classical music in the house. Uh-huh. But then I picked up a guitar in high school like everybody else.
Do you remember that moment, like whose guitar it was or how that ended up
Oh, I remember I saved up like crazy to buy a Martin guitar.
Is that right?
Yeah, I saved my money.
Do you remember which model it was and all that?
I bought a D28S. Wow. Because at times in my life I've tried to play classical guitar, and I have played classical guitar, but it's a very wide neck.
Yes.
And so I wanted a steel string guitar with a wide neck, and that's what the D28S was.
And do you still have that guitar?
No, I traded it for a National Resonator because I wanted to play slide. Yeah.
And so I know you have all done some journeys. You've traveled around to, I remember you told me about a time you went to, I can't remember where you went, but like kind of looking for songs or history of songs.
Yeah, to me, as a guitar player and a singer, it's all about finding good songs and the search for a good song. And if you find something that's a gem, but nobody knows it, it's wonderful to bring it back to life again and renew it and show the world, wow, what a great song. It was written by this person.
Yeah.
And so that's what I kind of do, and I was always, for the last 20 years or so, I've been searching older recordings, Depression era recordings, because there are so many gems in there, but you can't hear them because the sound quality is so bad.
Right.
So finding some of those gems and bringing them back to life and making them your own. When you take a song, you make it your own. Mm-hmm. It takes a long time with that song, and sometimes it goes around and around in your head and you can't stop it. Yeah. But eventually it stops circling in your head and becomes part of what it is that you do. Yeah. And you can make it your song and make it feel like it's coming from you.
Yes. And so tell us about the first song you're going to play. It's is it a Dylan tune, the first one?
Well, I listened to bluesmen for such a long time, and I ignored contemporary music. But then driving in the car, I was listening to these old Bob Dylan recordings from the early 60s.
Yeah.
And he, in my mind, qualifies as an old bluesman now. These are vintage American recordings,
Yeah.
and they're so cool.
And these are ones that most people probably have never heard. They're not like
Well,
the big hits that were on his album.
Yeah, probably people my age know them.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted to renew some of those songs because they had so much energy. And those early songs drew a lot on Woody Guthrie recordings. And Bob Dylan used to listen to the Anthology of American Folk Music,
Yeah.
which contained hundreds of old folk songs from Appalachia, from the South, all over. And that's where he did his early songwriting.
Wow, incredible.
It drew from that material, and that's what interests me.
All right.
So,
all right. So what's this one called that we're gonna hear?
First one is Walking Down the Line,
All right. All
Bob
right.
Dylan style.
All right. Well, let's check it out.
Hey, I'm walking down the line. I'm walking down the line. I'm walking down the line. My feet will be flying to tell about my troubled mind. I had a heavy-headed gal. Had a heavy-headed gal. Heavy-headed gal, she ain't a feeling well. When she's better, only time will tell. Now I'm walking down the line. I'm walking down the line. I'm walking down the line. My feet will be flying to tell about my trouble of mind. Money comes and goes. My money comes and goes. My money comes and goes. It rolls and flows through the holes in the pockets of my clothes. Now I'm walking down the line. I'm walking down the line. I'm walking down the line. My feet will be flying to tell about my trouble in my hand. I see the morning light. I see the morning light. And it's not because I'm an early riser. I didn't go to sleep last night. Now I'm walking down the line. I'm walking down the line. I'm walking down the line. My feet will be flying to tell about my troubled mind. I got my walking shoes. Got my walking shoes. Got my walking shoes. I ain't gonna lose. What else can a poor boy do? Now I'm walking down the line. I'm walking down the line. I'm walking down the line. My feet will be flying to tell about my trouble of mind.
Dougie, beautiful. So what makes a song when you hear, there's a lot of songs that are beautiful, but what makes a song that you say, I gotta do this one?
The early Dylan stuff, when I started listening to it again, I thought, well, I can do that. And I picked up a harmonica. And what I love about these songs is they're so well crafted.
Yeah.
They're put together like counterpoint.
Yeah.
The note he's playing on the harp is the same. It goes so well with the notes on the guitar, and it just fits together perfectly.
Yeah, and so for those folks who have heard the Dylan version will appreciate the attention you've given the subtleties of the guitar parts you're playing and the harmonica, because I mean you really, I can tell you've really paid close attention and do it quite a lot of justice. And is that something that's come natural? It takes a lot of time. I imagine it takes a lot of time, but what's the process been for you?
Well, it's not that different from singing. If you can sing, you're breathing. With a harmonica, you're breathing in and out. You're constantly breathing in and out. But with the harmonica, you can play it loud, you can play it soft, you can bend the notes. It can be a beautiful instrument.
Yeah.
And it costs, I don't know what, $40.
Yeah. And you can carry it in your pocket.
It's every man's instrument.
Yeah.
And when I took a tour of the Deep South, what fascinated me is that how working people make music. They can't take care of their hands. They can't do scales. They want to make music, but they might have a cheap guitar and limited ability. But if they make it about the rhythm, and you play very few notes in a lot of old blues music. Tune your guitar to an open tuning so it sounds good.
Yeah.
And play very few notes and put a lot of feeling into it.
Yes, yes.
And to me, that's what a good song can be.
Yeah.
You use as few notes as possible to convey as big an image as you can.
Yeah, yeah. And what's it like for you? What's the performing part of it? Is it do you is that something when you're practicing a song? Are you kind of having in mind, okay, I'm looking forward to performing at some public place, or is it just for the sake of appreciating the craft of the song? Where does the performance come in for you?
Oh, playing music for people and with other people is such a great experience. Yeah. And like you and I were sitting around about a week and a half ago, sitting around the living room. Yeah. It's magic when you're making music. A lot of times you're practicing, you're learning songs, but when it comes down to it, there's other people around, you start making music where it becomes magic, and people start tapping their feet.
Yeah, yeah. It's a powerful way to connect with another person. Sometimes someone who you maybe never know, and maybe you'll never even speak to, but you communicate. You have a communication
and up in Hamus we have so much music going on.
What's that? Yeah,
I want to do a shout out to Mikey and Judy, my bandmates up there.
Okay, and tell us about your band.
Oh, we get together when we can. We've been playing music up there even during the pandemic. We would practice on the patio down at the cafe.
Nice.
Each of us would get in another corner of the patio, and we kept going through the pandemic, and they're my dear friends, and I love them deeply. And
wonderful. Well, maybe we'll have you all on the show sometime.
We're called Canyon Standard.
Canyon Standard. Okay.
Got to put in a plug for you.
All right. Well, great. And so, before we hear your next song, can you tell me just a little bit about because how Bob Dylan specifically? I know you said you were on you were driving and you started hearing this. Was Bob Dylan always kind of in your tape collection, album collection?
Yeah, he sure was. Him and Joni Mitchell was always a huge part of my life, forever. And a lot of heroes. I had a lot of heroes. And one other hero I wanted to mention is Joseph Spence. Well, do we need to do a lead into the second song first?
Yeah, why don't we? Why don't you tell us about it?
All right, it's Band of Constant Sorrow. It's one of those songs that I mentioned was Appalachian style. But sure, we can cue that if you like.
Yeah, and that's a song I know there's been many renditions, of course, probably most popular from a "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" But it's a song that goes back.
It's traditional.
Quite a ways.
It goes back quite a ways.
All right.
I was able to find out who first published it, but I don't think it's attributed to a...
That's like one of those songs like House of the Rising Sun or something. They don't know quite who first did it.
Yeah, and if I'm wrong in not mentioning the writer,
well,
somebody,
let us know.
Somebody correct me.
Yes, yes. All right, well, we've heard Bob Dylan, all these. Now we're going to hear Dougie do a song that I think everyone can connect to, "A Man of Constant Sorrow." Let's check it out.
I'm a man of constant sorrow. I've seen trouble all my days. I say goodbye to Colorado, place where I was born and raised. Some people say that I am just a stranger. Your face I'll never see no more. But there's one promise, darling. I'll meet you on God's golden shore. Bound to ramble through ice and snow, sleet and rain. I'm bound to ride that morning railroad. Perhaps I'll die on that train. That I started from. If I had known how bad you treat me, honey, I never would have come.
Doug, Bob Dylan will be proud. I hope he catches this video sometime and he said that Whispering Doug, he did this one justice.
Well, when I'm learning a song, I'll listen to it hundreds of times and try to listen really close. But anyhow, I wanted to mention another one of my guitar heroes is Joseph Spence from the Bahamas.
Tell me about Joseph.
Well, he was a stonemason, a working man again, and he would go to church on Sundays, and he'd have these songs in his mind, and he'd go back and learn how to play them on the guitar. And nobody taught him, I don't believe. I think he came up with a style all his own.
Wow.
So I wanted to do one of his instruments called Just a Closer Walk with Thee.
Okay, and that's the one we'll close though. So
yes, when it comes around.
We'll have that to look forward to. I want to talk to you a little more before we hear that. But how did you hear about Joseph?
I don't know, just being a KUNM, honestly.
Okay.
KUNM was always playing on Freeform in the afternoons. They were always playing interesting stuff, and I was always listening.
See, a treasure public radio that we have. So in addition to music, you have many other pretty amazing talents. I wonder if you could just tell us a bit so people get a full scope of who this gem of a fellow that I'm talking to.
Well, I've been a carpenter all my life. And I've worked for people in this town and up in Hamus. And I've made my living and raised my children. And I'm so proud of all of them. And I'm proud of my step-family and my new step-family.
Yes.
And my new grandchildren, my son's children, and my wife's grandchildren.
Yeah.
Their life seems full and rich with people.
Yes. And do you get a chance to share music with some of the little ones?
Yeah, I'm trying to teach the little ones how to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they're taken to it?
Yeah. And some of the others are already into piano and cello.
Okay.
So there's music. My children love music, and
Yes.
like I say, it's everything.
Yes. And do you see, and so you've been, as someone who's been a carpenter for your whole life, do you see some parallels between those two worlds? The way you were describing some of the Bob Dylan songs, how it was crafted, almost made me think of maybe how when you're creating or building something, do you see some connections?
That's true. I think that's true. I like songs that are well crafted.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just a set of chords and a melody. There's some kind of craft in it. There's something unusual about it. There's something engaging.
Right, like there's like a purpose to, like how you're saying how the note on the guitar is at the same as the harmonica. Some people might just say, oh, this sounds nice, but I wonder if that's part of your carpenter years and mind that sees those connections that maybe other people are not seeing or hearing. That could be.
Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Yeah. And so what would you like to do? Is there something with music that you have not yet done, whether it's recording or performing or collaborating, something like, would be pretty awesome is what?
Well, to me, it's good the way it is right now. We have a lot of friends who get together and have parties and music parties, song circle.
Ah, okay.
And I don't think music should be about ambition. I think it's about doing it and the community of it.
Yeah.
I don't really have ambitions. I like what I'm doing. I want more people. I want to get out and play more.
Yeah.
But
is there a place?
I play on the front porch, and I love playing on the front porch with good friends.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's a true rich man is someone who sees that they've got all the treasures with them. And just
it's part of my life, and it is life. So, and all the love around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And is there something with music? Are there specific times you can think of where music, helped you through a time or experience?
Definitely. Yeah. I remember being sad and listening to sad music. It somehow brings it all out, I suppose.
Yeah, I used to think like, I don't want to write sad music because that'll make people sad. But really, it doesn't. We know as when we hear it, it's almost like it liberates us, gives us freedom. Oh, it's okay to feel these things. It can really help.
I think that's what they call catharsis.
Yes. Well, Dougie, before we go, tell us a little bit about the instrumental song that you're going to close out with.
Yeah. Well, this is that song by Joseph Spence. I mean, it's a church song.
Mm-hmm. And real quick, did you spend much time in church? Was that a big part of your life, or more the music that came after?
It wasn't such a positive thing for me. It was something I had to get dressed up on Sunday mornings, and then when church is over, the adults would never stop talking.
Okay.
But now, I have. There's a little church up in Hamus.
Yeah.
There's a wonderful group of people, and I don't necessarily subscribe to all the beliefs, but it's a
Yeah.
wonderful community, and we enjoy each other's company so much, and they're supportive if anybody has a hard time.
Yeah.
They pray for people who are having
Beautiful.
hard times,
Yeah.
and that's what a church should do.
All
I
right.
think.
And so this song that you're going to close us out with is
it's a
kind
church
of a
song,
church song.
and I play up at Amos Church. I do know a lot of gospel songs because I love the feeling.
Yeah.
But this is just a closer walk with thee,
Closer
done
walk
in the
with you.
style of Joseph Spence.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to close out with that, but Dougie, thank you so much for
All right.
chatting with us today, and continue to share your beautiful gift, and keep learning those songs and sharing those songs, and I'll look forward to our next time sitting on the front porch or living room, wherever it should be.
All right.
All right, let's listen to this. Here with Kevin Kookie Jones, music legend in this town. It's a pleasure to get to sit and have a chance to chat with you and hear your story. Yes, pleasure. So as you can see, we've got, this is just some of your library.
Yes, some of my documentation.
Yeah, so we'll get a chance to talk about these, especially the new one. But maybe first just tell a little bit about yourself, about you know, how you got started in the music world and about your life a little bit.
I was born here, and when I was 3, we moved to Houston.
Ah, okay.
And I got interested in music very young. I used to sing all the time. And when I was a little boy, I was singing in my aunt's backyard. And she goes, "You're gonna be a singer just like Johnny Nash." I'm not saying I was a great singer, but I was singing, you know.
Yeah.
And she's going, I used to babysit him, and I didn't know who Johnny Nash was, and then I found out that he actually wrote songs with Bob Marley, and
Is that right?
he had one of the first black rodeos in Houston,
Whoa.
in Texas, and he wrote "I Can See Clearly Now."
Is that right?
That's Johnny Nash, and
Wow.
Johnny Nash had the most beautiful tenor, dude.
Okay.
And
so you were
I just
being
I
nurtured
believe in the
early.
power of words, and I think those words stuck with me because music is something that got me through a lot when I was a young man.
Yes. Yes.
And she planted that seed, you know. And I feel like that's kind of like what we're here for, is where if you see somebody love something, you should water it.
Yes.
You feel me? You know, and she
let
did that to me.
Let that be a New Year's resolution for for
Oh,
everyone.
yeah, we got to take care of
things,
the garden, man.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We got to water the garden.
Yeah.
Pull the weeds in your garden.
Yeah. Now, see, people forget though that sometimes spend their time watering the things that they're complaining about, they don't like, but whatever you're watering is going to grow.
Oh, man, and our words are so powerful. I speak to my son about words and about acknowledgement, especially at his school. There's so much division among the kids. I said, you need to go out there and practice liberty. It's something I picked up on from Rastafarianism. Yeah. At the beginning of the pandemic, I was asking for guidance.
Yes.
Because we were all kind of lost.
Yeah.
And we couldn't really tell our kids, oh, it's gonna be okay, because we didn't know. Yeah. And so I was really praying for some not answers, but just a way to go through things, and the word liberty and the practice of it, which is a living faith. Yeah. Like if you see a need, you can fill a need. Yes. Or if you see a younger person needs love, or an elderly person that needs care, you try to fill those needs, and it's a living faith. And it really helped me. It gave me a little more purpose, and then it also, I was introduced back to reggae music, and it's like a family member that you don't really hang out with, but they're there. Yeah. And then when I got into it, I was like, oh, and it led me back to the scriptures. And I was like, thank you, Jehovah, because you led me back to where I wanted to be in the scriptures and spreading love. Not so much as spreading be like me, but just to show love. Because we all need love. Yes. But man, I love the Lord, and I try to practice liberty. And I'm teaching my son the same thing. Beautiful. And how powerful acknowledgement is to come back around to that. Yes. Like when you see someone that might be lonely, or go acknowledge that person. Yeah. Or if you see that you can fill a need in someone's life. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Yeah, because I needed that, man.
And that's the way you fill your cup 10 times over by filling someone
the more
else's.
you give, the more you receive. Yes. I really try to live by that. Yes. It's a hard thing. Because because sometimes when you see someone that's less fortunate than yourself, you might be judging, well, they're there because they're doing that. Maybe so. But you know what, man? Every day we get up, it's a blessing. Yeah. And if you can do something good for somebody, maybe you can only offer them a sandwich or something to eat, or some water. Yeah. But just to show that acknowledgement and that you care. Because I feel like I see so much of that. It's hard to get so much pain and suffering. Mm. People with no hope. And then I think about myself and playing music, and I'm humbled by it, because I'm like, man, how much should I chase being popular when there's so much suffering around me? So I have a hard time with that.
It's a fine
I have a hard
balance
time with that, and I mean, I'm not saying I'm not trying to be self-righteous. I just see all the pain around me, and I'm like, man, it's hard to enjoy things when you see what's going on around you. So,
and do some of these come out? Are there some songs you can think of that some of these ideas have come out and
I believe
that
so.
you can tell us about?
There's a song on the new album called Healing, and I have friends that have been through I lost my mom 3 years ago.
My condolences. I know that doesn't go away.
And she was a big part of me becoming a musician. Yeah. My mom, it's another one of those things. I always tell the story. I used to play my guitar in the bathroom, and I'd be there, playing all the notes you can imagine. And she'd knock on the door. She'd be like, I hear a lot of notes, but I don't hear no songs. And it made me become a songwriter. Yeah. It was a couple occasions. Then there was when I was writing songs, I wanted to sound like my heroes, Prince and Rick James and George Clinton. I wanted to sound like Sly and everybody. And she's like, why don't you be yourself? Wow. Because I would write and it would come out like me, but I'm like, no, I wanted to sound like George Clinton and P-Funk, or, I wanted to be like that. Yeah. And then once she made me embrace who I was as a songwriter, and man, that was some of the best advice I've ever been given.
Wow, what a gift!
Yeah,
what
man.
A gift. See, that's
why
when people pass away, they're still she still
She gave me the tools, man. And my mom was a singer too. And I found out later that her and her cousin and maybe her sister, they used to go down to a radio station and sing gospel.
Is that right?
And harmonize. And man, I would love to experience that. Yeah. My mom was something else. I miss her very much. Yes. Big part of my music. All my family, my dad as well.
Yeah. Well, I know all your family. Your mom will be very proud of this new album, especially.
Yeah, man.
And I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit more about it, because if you haven't heard this album, you really got to hear it, because it's one of the things. As soon as you hear it, you'll move. You'll feel good. So tell us about it.
The first song that I did was called Heaven, and it's funny because it became like one of one of the last songs on the album before we get to Don't You Want to Go. It's like where you want, when you get to heaven, don't you want to go to heaven? You know, that's the concept. Yeah. But it was, I wrote, it's been in the works for a while. Me and Doug Bellum did it. He engineered it. And I had all my friends playing. Mikey Hamill plays on it. Scott Jacobson's on it, and my friend Lucas plays some mighty bass on it. Yeah. A lot of great players, man. My son is on a song called Alpha Meg. He plays congas. And I'm always trying to get my kid to play with me, he's a basketball man now. So. Yeah. But anyway, I wrote a song for my mother. It's called Lilith's Dream. I'm really proud of that one. And a lot of the music was written in the morning. After I get up in the morning, I say my prayers and give thanks and praise for the day. Then I'll go see if the muse will visit me, And I realize most of the stuff I've written has been in the morning, if you catch it. If you catch it, because sometimes what starts out at 6 in the morning might not be the same at 9 at night, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like a whole nother vibe.
It's true, and I know you might think, I'll remember this, but if you don't capture
it don't work like that. But my phone is, I call my ghetto studio. So I try to capture things on my phone. And Groove Maneuvers is the first song, and that's just basically for all the Funketeers that have fallen. I lost a lot of good friends that were on Black Life. Yeah. Roland Smith played bass on some of it, and Roland passed. And so my best friend, Mark Wheeler, he passed as well, and he's the last voice you hear on Black Life. Is that right? And another great friend of mine named Jerome was a drummer. We did the Aladocious CD together at his house. It was me and Jerome. We had some vocalists come in a couple of times, but he played drums and I kind of did the other stuff, like the bass guitars and keyboards. And and his wife at the time, she did the artwork, Alicia. She's a beautiful woman, still here in town. But me and Jerome passed, and man, it was just, I listened to it, but it's kind of hard. I'm thankful for the time I had with my friends, but man, I'm 59, and sometimes I feel like I'm like looking over my shoulder because all my good friends are gone, And I'm thankful for the time I had, and then I lost my mom, and so it's hard to listen to it, but I'm thankful for it,
Yeah, we were talking about how I think the importance of putting your music out there.
Yeah, man, I still got about like 3 more releases. My wife is always telling me, you gotta put that stuff out. And I'm so caught up in chasing that next one, the next song, because I love to write. That's just that's what I really love. And I love to play out too, make a joyful noise. Yes. And and so I got some stuff in the can that I just need to.
Yeah, I would encourage
actually, Doug re-engineered, I think the one we did called, what is the name of that album? Relevant. And it's pretty cool, and we're going to probably put that out. He's like, even if you just put it out on, YouTube. I kind of maybe.
I was just going to say, shout out to Doug, who's just an absolute incredible talent.
Doug has worked with me. Doug has had patience, and inspiring, very kind. It's easy to work with him because believe it or not, it's hard to perform in front of people in the studio. Yeah. And to feel comfortable. And he's always been patient with me, and had good suggestions. But I try to go prepared because I don't want to waste that man's time. Yeah. And it's just something about when you go in prepared and you get something done in an amount of time. Because it did take a while because life was happening. Yeah. And like I said, I lost my mom. I did some of the songs I was worked on at my sister's house while she was in the hospice. And some of those songs are on the album. The Healing's on there, Lilith's Dream, the song for her, and Prisoner of Love. I finally did a couple of reggae tunes on this song, on this album, Prisoner of Love and The Journey. And Mary sang background vocals on all. Mary from Keeping Up with the Jungle, she sang background vocals on those 2 songs. Well. Yeah, Mary's my sister, man. That's my soul sister right there. Yeah. We sang together for a while. She's like, "Kev, you don't realize how long we've been singing together." I'm like, "I know."
And how long have you been?
Man, I'm gonna say we might be going on 7, 8 years now, but I'm probably wrong because, dude, I'm just so caught up in it. I don't really count it. Yeah. I'm just thankful to be in it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I try not to look back, but we've been singing together for a while, and we did Band with No Name too. I played guitar with them. Right on. Yeah, shout out to Nick. And Epic, yeah, man. You know, Mikey and Lucas and Scott play in band with no name sometimes too.
Yeah. Well, wonderful. Well, we're gonna see a video clip. If you could set us up a little bit with.
This is our keyboard player put this video together, and it's Keeping Up with the Joneses. It's a song called Zion Train, and it's basically about, you know, we're all going to be on the train one day. You know, it's a one-way ticket. You know, and when this is inspired by my faith, and you know, some of the stuff I write can be, I don't want to say judgmental, but I just have so much conflict in my heart sometimes. I write about exactly what I feel, you know, then I'm like, all right, Cookie, that's a little too, you know, too serious.
Good to have an outlet, though.
Yeah, it's definitely good to have an outlet. But it's, you know, Zion Train is a beautiful song. It's just inspired by my beliefs, and you know, and the band's hot, man. I've always been blessed to play with beautiful people, man. You know? I'm like the only crazy one in there. So you know, it works out. They're like, yo, he's a little crazy. But I love the music, man. I think of it, it's not mine. Yeah. It's the music. It's not my music. It's the music. You know, I'm blessed to be in it. You feel me?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
You're lucky to be a vessel.
So I try to think of it, you know, like give thanks for the music, not my music. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Did that.
Especially the real good stuff. You're like, I know that couldn't have come from just me. There's no way.
It's not, man, because I feel blessed, man, because I don't know where it comes from. And I remember Bootsy saying, don't try to figure it out. He's like, just be glad you got it and keep moving with it. And he's so
wise
right.
Words,
you
wise
know?
words.
Like Sly said, there's a rhythm when you don't know what you're doing. You know what I'm saying?
That's when the magic
when you're just in the moment, you know? Like I tell the band, I said, let's learn the music so the music can play us. Yeah. Let the music, don't be sitting there guessing what's coming next, you know? But this is a good thing to have a band because you can blame other people when you messing up and shit.
share the love in all the ways.
Yeah, man.
All right, well, let's check this out.
All right, cool.
Check this out. Perfect.
No more. About a one-way ticket on Zion train. I won't be coming this way no more. I'm leaving Babylon.
We're at the party. Beautiful, beautiful.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
So tell us where it looked like that was happening, like in a couple different places.
There's a few different spots.
How was that created? What we just saw?
Mark Nava, the synthesizer player, multi-instrumentalist in the band. He put that together from a lot of footage he took. Yeah. You know, it's really cool. He took the time out. We're going to try to do some more stuff. Because video's kind of what's happening now.
Yeah. I was just saying,
it's good to have that representation.
Exactly. Because people listen, but now a lot of times to get people to listen out, flip through some videos of this, man. And then they'll go, maybe pursue it.
Yeah, and I had to get used to seeing myself,
Yeah, exactly. Because some people before, in the days when audio was a thing, it's like, oh, do I sound like that?
Yeah, that really
but
me.
That's like,
now I get to see myself, I'm like, oh man, I should have worn something different. I remember a while back, band with no name, we were taking some pictures for some stuff, and I wore some shorts with some black boots, and I looked like I have the chicken legs, man, so I look like a chicken with combat boots on, man. I was like, oh no, if anybody sees this, it looks so terrible.
Now you say
and my legs glow in the dark, man, you know. There's the outage, they're like, let Cookie lead the way.
There's gonna be a lot of searches like Kevin Cookie Jones shorts and this and.
Yeah, oh dude, it was just bad. But I learned my lesson. You know, I grew from that.
Yeah.
You know?
Everything's a lesson.
I'm never gonna wear shorts with boots again, man. Never.
Wow. So what are you looking forward to these days? What are some things?
Man, I'm on to the next project. I'm gonna work on another. I try to do 12 songs a year. That's my goal.
Yeah.
Documentation of 12 more originals. And just keep writing and playing with the band. I have another project I like to do, more of a collective. I want to call it the Soulflower Funkestra, and just like have like friends like you, and we do some songs like a Quincy Jones album. We feature people, not so much me singing, different singers, and have like a choir, but the funk behind it. You know, and then maybe we can get together and do some shows and, you know, give it to charity or man, I would, you know, I talk about it, but it's more about trying to make it it's hard. I have a lot of plans. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather have guidelines, because then you could just scratch shit off. Excuse my language.
Oh, you're allowed to.
We're
so a quarter in the jar.
Yeah, the one Shane. Yeah, I'm already up 50 cents. Excuse me. My mom's mad right now too. Sorry.
But that 50 cents will go to a good cause.
That's what I'm talking about. But yeah, I would like to play more live, and I love it when my friends come up and play with me. Like I've always said, Seth, come play some guitar. I think musicians, if you're, you know, there's 12 notes, one of them got to be right. We can always play together. You know what I'm saying? You know?
And that's one of the things that's like, and a lot of artists, you know, have so many ideas, all this, but then to be able to like, all right, now how do we make this specific thing happen, you know? And it's, you know, sometimes you got to be like, all right, I got to, I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but you're focusing, and then all of a sudden, I got some great song idea, and you're like, all right, now do I finish out this task, or do I, do
you have time to put time into it? And sometimes I kind of budget it out too, like, I'm going to work on something I've been writing for 15 minutes. Like if I wrote it on keyboard, I might figure it out on a guitar or bass, or just add parts to it. But mostly what I notice is like, I'll be trying to learn a cover or something, and I'll stumble onto something that I like. From learning the cover, you know, that's happened to me a lot. And then I found out that some D'Angelo's and Questlove would get together and jam on a Prince album. And then from those jams, something original will come out of it, you know, from them learn. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Then the Barcades back in the day, they were like that as well, where whatever was the most popular. They have albums where they sound like Earth, Wind & Fire. I mean, I might be going back. People don't know what the hell I'm talking about. They used to have albums where they sound like Rick James and just whatever was at their moment.
I mean,
you know?
it's smart.
And
it's
then
like,
they have some funk stuff that was kind of like the Ohio Players, but I felt that they had their identity on that album. You know, where they found themselves, because they're a great band. Got to see them live back in the day. Barcades were hot.
Well, I guess it's kind of like, you know, you said you got to divide it up. Maybe I like your idea of giving it something like a good solid 15 minutes or something, or get it to a point where it's like, all right, now this is something I can, you know, it's an entity that can be further developed later or something. But I mean, I guess we should be blessed to have such a conflict of so many,
and not get too attached to something, because sometimes, man, you know, you might find yourself writing a certain way and you're like going to change this the same, or you know, and so I'm like, oh well, I'm glad to have that thought where I could take chances, because I feel like music should be free too. You know, you don't. I have pop sensibilities, but still allow your imagination to be your guide. Like, okay, you don't have to have a verse here. You know, if you want to make the chorus 4 times as long, that's you know, that's what makes music interesting. You know, that people find their voice. You know, and nothing is so precious that you can't change it. It took me a long time to get to that point. Well, you know, this is the greatest thing. I need to spend more time. And sometimes it wasn't that great, but your ego's telling you to pursue it, and you're forcing it. And the best things you write are those things that come in like 10 minutes or 5 minutes. And hopefully you could document it and pursue that.
Exactly,
You know, it's like a first take in the studio. Man, there's something about the magic of us. as humans. The first time,
Yeah.
like your first thought can maybe save your life, where something would say, I believe it's Jehovah speaking to a Jai, and he's like, don't go there.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. And you listen. I think that's how music comes to us as well,
It's very alive.
Yeah.
It's very alive.
It's so alive. And
The good stuff, the real good stuff.
Oh yeah, man. And I find like the more sometimes I embrace silence, it visits me a lot more.
Yeah.
When I'm not so early in the morning.
Yeah.
When not so many thoughts are around.
Yeah, true.
And
No,
I
that's a
like
special
that.
time.
And sometimes late at night, too, the funk will visit,
And when it comes, you
Oh, hey, man.
if you're fortunate enough to be ready.
Oh,
and,
man,
able
it's
to
nothing like, something
it.
coming through and then you don't catch it, or you caught a glimpse of it and then you go back and it ain't the same.
yeah.
Oh, man, it's a drag.
That's what makes it special about the stuff that does get, recorded and you can live on. And that's why I encourage you all you're telling me some of your older stuff that hadn't been put out there to just get it all out in the world. It'll
Man,
stay beyond us.
and some of my friends that have passed on have played on some of that stuff, and it just man, Roland was such a great bass player, and Jerome was an amazing drummer. My friend Mark, we met in church because both our dads were ministers, and when we were coming up in high school, we were into Ready for the World. We had our Jerry curls and we sang love songs. We had a group, me, him, and his brother Derek. We were called the Lonely Hearts Club.
Oh, I like that.
We were some crooners, man, and we had all these depressing love songs. We thought they were great. They were good. They were good songs.
Well, they all are part of the story, which led to Kevin Kookie Jones we have here today. Well, can you? We're gonna close out. Can you leave us just with some closing words? Any words of wisdom that have helped you along the way?
Oh man. I was telling my boy the other day, it takes style to be kind and be a good person. So that's the kind of style we should chase. Being a good people.
You heard it
being
from
good
the man
to
right
each other. And practice liberty. Have a living faith. That's what I would say.
Beautiful.
Yes, man.
Well, thank you for your time and for your
Yeah, my
wisdom
brother.
and for your art. And I look forward to seeing and hearing and joining you.
Thank you for having me.
All right.
Yeah,
all
man.
right. God bless. All the best to everybody out there.
Yeah.
We'll catch you next time.
Everybody's got something that nobody else has got. Everybody, you're the only one. And everybody's got something that nobody else has got. Everybody, you're the only one. Everybody got something that's just your style. Everybody got something that makes you smile.